It feels a lot like your soul is very peaceful. It's come here to experience a lot of peace. You're supposed to find peace even in the chaos. There are mirroring things in this life from that past life that you've come to heal with this person.
You're strong. You can even, like pull yourself up without even having your feet touch anything.
I find that even in your current life right now, it's still important for you to use your voice.
What I'm getting is that you want a love that you can contribute to. You're asking for like platinum, so you can't accept the copper when it shows up, even though it's pretty too.
You are being pushed outside your comfort zone to seek new heights.
And you are true to yourself and you're true to others around you as you live your authentic life. You are just you, and that is all you need to open up. We need you to speak your truth, Katrina.
All right, so the reason why I decided to hit the record button really quick is because I have a reading today. And I have a reading with Golden V. And dude, back up. And I actually just thought it would be kind of cool to just talk about like how I prepare for readings. So, generally speaking, I believe this to be true. I believe that when you feel called to book a reading, it's not really you. It's actually spirit that wants to talk to you. And we think everything is our idea, but it's not. So usually when I book the reading, I know what I want to talk about because they tell me, I guess, right? And so yesterday, for example, I had a couple of situations come up and I'm like, oh, you know what? I got a list of things I need to discuss with the other side. So I'm going to get a reading. So I scheduled a reading with V today at 10. Right now it's 8 in the morning. And yesterday, once I booked the reading, once I messaged her and I was like, okay, this is going to happen. I got on my Snapchat. So I use Snapchat a lot for personal notes. So what I'll essentially do is like open up the little window and I'll just record myself talking about my dog wants to play. I'll record myself talking about what it is that I want to discuss in the reading. And some of this, y'all, my life, it's just crazy. So there's a few things. So I recorded 4 videos. I feel like there's like 2 subjects per video that I wanted to go into. And I usually just talk about like what the issue is and what I want to know. And this is my way of I'm not really feeling like I'm doing this for me. Maybe they're doing it for me. Maybe they're like making me, think of these things so that way I know what we need to talk about. But I like to, my human side's like, no, it's me. So these are the things that, dude, stop, that I want to go into in the reading. So what I'm going to do before the reading is I'm actually going to listen to these again because I don't remember. I remember a couple of what they were, but I don't remember 100% what they were. And I do want to write them down and make notes if I need to make notes. And then what I do is like I'll talk to my guides and angels about whatever it is. So like, okay, I'm just going to tell you what one of them was. I saw an angel thing or something. There was a tiny person looking thing, looked like a fairy, but she was black and fabulous, and she was floating in my room the other night when I was asleep. And I want to know if that was real or if my imagination's going rampant or whatever and what that means. But I have been asking, so for spirit to allow me to see more things and to communicate with me more, and so it could just be, somebody was showing up and allowing themselves to be seen, or I was in a state of mind that allowed me to see stuff, and if whatever, it's just cool. So I might like go into that more and ask more questions, and I might talk to them in my mind about like what that felt like and what I think it's going to be or whatever. And then whatever comes through in the reading is what comes through in the reading. Right before the reading, I would say like 5 to 10 minutes before, I usually grab a stone because I like crystals. Like I'll usually grab selenite. And then I'll grab like a grounding stone like hematite or black tourmaline, and I'll have the grounding stone in my left hand, and then the selenite in my right hand because the intention of holding selenite is to like signal to the universe and to my body and all that is that I am like ready to receive messages from the other side and, you know, have cool conversations with my spiritual team, which is always a blast. And then during the readings, sometimes depending on how intense the energy is, I'll feel just like, how can I describe it? People say buzzing and electric, and those are good words, but it's almost like, you know, when your leg goes to sleep or something, and when it's coming back, minus all the prickly discomfortness, but just like that sense of, sometimes I'll feel that. Usually, almost, no, always. I hate the word always, but like always, almost always, in readings, every single word that the reader will speak, whether it's like intentional or what seems to be flippant, is purposeful, and it's answering something. She'll answer questions. I'll find that they'll answer questions, the reader will answer questions that I didn't vocalize, but my guides and angels will know I want to know because we had the conversation. So you don't even have to say everything to the reader. Once you get them like in the vibration of the issue or whatever, usually stuff just starts flowing to them. I don't know, I've never not had a good reader. I've never, you know how people are like, oh, some, you know, readers are, you know, I've had a bad experience. I've never had a bad experience. So everything for me has been really, really, really spot on. And then, yeah. Then after the readings, I usually just sit with the information. I'll do something, or like I'll go for a walk, or a hike or whatever, and just, yeah. But anyway, so I just wanted to keep this short and sweet. So that's pretty much how I prepare for readings. I set my intentions. Oh, and then I also, this is another important one. Oh my God. I will tell my subconscious. So every now and again, a reading will end up being something like all deep and like, oh, it's something you need to heal. And I'm like, well, what is it? And they're like, well, something from your childhood. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? You know, can we be more specific? So I will literally ask my subconscious to open itself wide and fully to the reader so that the reader can find out what the fuck is going on. So we can get it addressed, because I'm not one for mystery. I don't want to wonder. I don't want to guess. And I have been told by my guides and angels before to stop making such school of this, because I like school. And I make everything a project that I have to like get through, when we're supposed to really just be enjoying the ride. So I guess also have fun. So yeah. So anyway, those are my, it's kind of like what my process is, when going into like a psychic reading. So we're still doing, I just changed my clothes, and I'm doing reading prep. Okay, so I am going to listen to my recordings, and then I'm going to make notes about what I want to talk about in this reading that's coming up. And my dog's going to harass me the whole time, because that's his job. Because we don't want V to hear these ridiculous ass, even though she'd laugh, because I think that, you know, she's a psychic, so she knows I'm crazy. All right, gods and angels, let's do this.
Let's just talk about the block with the money. What am I missing in order to be able to be as powerful as a manifester as I'm able to manifest penis in my life, that I can manifest the money?
All right, so the money block. What do I need to manifest more money? Are there any past lives that are impacting my current ability that it would help to know about?
Yeah, if there's any feedback or guidance or anything that you guys can say that can help me get out of my own way, I'm ready to play more than I already have. I mean, this year, 2020, whatever the fuck, has been so amazing. I've spent very little time in California. I'm stoked about that. I have had the universe surprise and delight me in a multitude of ways. Oh, the fairy that I saw floating around. Tell me everything.
Basically, I've written down all the notes that I wanted to make on this upcoming reading. Okay, so we got some weird shit to cover today. This is gonna kind of be all over the place. Hopefully we can...
I'm here for all over the
Girl. Okay, so we're gonna start with the fairy. Because, yeah, that's just that kind. All right, so when I was a little kid, I used to see stuff, right? Some of it I thought was just like fake Like, for example, I would have like dolls in my room and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and they would just be dancing, or posters on my wall and they would come to life or whatever. And then as I got older, I would see other things like people just standing in the room. Oh my God, one time I saw this lady, whatever. So I wake up the other night, this hasn't happened in a really long time, but I wake up the other night and I look over inside my living room and there's like a fairy, this dark skinned black like fairy, the size of like a water bottle. And she's just like floating in my thing. She's got this like Flintstone kind of hair situation happening. But she's just floating there. And I decide that I'm not going to look around just in case I see a random person. I don't like seeing whole people because it scares me because of certain stuff I saw as a kid. So I'm just wondering if you can chime in, you know, guides, angels, all that good stuff, and tell me, am I seeing shit or was that something?
Yeah. Right away, as you were talking, literally, as you were talking, first thing that popped up was a huge yes. This was a real experience. And it's funny that you mentioned, and you said it just happened the other day, but like you were going on childhood, because this is something that they showed me an image of an eye opening, which means perception, third eye, which means you've already had that kind of gift or the opening, the awareness since you were younger. But like you said, when your fears pop in about seeing a full apparition, you know what I mean, like an actual full on spirit, your mind blocks it. So I can understand where sometimes where you like halfway feel like, okay, maybe there is something to this, or halfway like, okay, maybe I'm just crazy kind of thing. And I just want to confirm that was a real experience. I also feel like when the elemental spirits, because that's what I call them, elementals are the fays, the fairy spirits, when they show up in your life like that, and the fact that you said this just happened, what, the other day?
Yeah, just maybe like 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. The fact that this happened the other day like that, what it says to me is that for whatever reason, your energy right now, because usually they buzz around. First of all, they do know who can and cannot really perceive them. So they know what the hell they're doing in advance. They knew you would be able to perceive them, but when they do specifically hang around someone, or like for you, they visit, it's for to give energy. So they give like a joy-like energy in your environment or whatever. If there's been too much heaviness, something to lighten up the mood, lighten up the energy. So even them just being there, even without communication, is a huge indicator that like something in your life or in your environment needs an overhaul of like a lighter perspective, a lighter energy, that it's really not that serious kind of thing. You know, and that's what they kind of there to remind us, is that because they're playful spirits and they're really joyful, and they're also spirit children are protectors. They also have protective spirit, especially since you've been seeing them. For people like you, there's two different kinds of people. Sometimes they just show up randomly depending on your environmental energy. If your environmental energy, if you have a lot of plants around your house, a lot of like, you know, kind of, or if you are a nature lover, so naturally you're going to attract earth spirits because of your love of nature, and if you surround yourself with plants or just have plants around, things like that. Now, so like I was saying, there's two types of people, where one, you're just into nature, and let's say you never had experiences when you're younger, that's one type. But for you, this has been an off and on ongoing experience, because this is something that pertains to your gifts. And for some reason, some of us see those kind of spirits. Some psychics perceive them more than other psychics. You know, like I personally, I see them time to time when I'm hiking, but they don't visit me when I'm at my house. And then there's other psychics where they get visited heavily by these kind of spirits, you know, for whatever reason, right? Now, I also feel like, and again, this goes back, the spirit keeps showing me the image of the third eye. So going back to your third eye, and how this really, and basically what Spirit's saying is that what happened the other day, they showed me the word refocus. They said they had to get you to refocus. And not going out. They showed me an image of a spiral. You know the term spiralizing? They showed me a literal spiral, which indicates spiralizing. So they're like, we have to shift your focus. And so who's going to do it greatest? It's like, because usually when these experiences happen, it's like, it's so, how you know it's a real psychic experience is when it's something that's so shocking that you can't stop thinking about it, because it's so out of the norm. That's how you know it's like your energy's responding like, no, this is different than just, I know I'm not kind of crazy, you know, am I crazy? Once you start to get to the am I crazy, am I not, that's how you know it's usually a psychic experience. Right. So just to confirm, it was very real, and this does pertain to more of the opening of your gifts, or I think like really becoming more accepting of your intuition. Even with, and going backwards, because Spirit's bringing this up, when you left to see that guy, they said your intuition was on fire when you were in person with him. And they're talking about listening to those hints, those feelings, and not just with him, I'm just using that as an example, but I'm just saying, like, in a general sense, this whole theme since last month in November, and like going back to what happened with the roommate situation. So even bringing that back up, all these like big major events that started in the beginning of November. And here we are, now it's the end of December. So basically what they're showing me is like, they're showing me all these big events. Like we're starting from the roommate situation to then seeing the guy, then like just, getting back home, getting acclimated to being back home, to spirits, like even right now, they said her mind's still trying to figure out her next move.
That's why we're on here with you, girl.
Exactly. So literally like the next move is figuring out her next move. And so it makes sense. And also your psychic abilities, and why would your psychic abilities, like such as what happened the other day, why is it really like on like at its peak and on fire? Because basically as you're entering this new upcoming chapter, coming up, enter the new year, enter a new chapter, figuring out what is it that you want for your life, where you want to be, because these are the questions that they're telling you what's on your mind, where you want to live. That's a huge thing, where you see yourself, what you want to be doing, like as a living, like in a general sense. Are you still called to this, or are you just doing it just because it's this? It's like you're having major life actual like decisions to make, you know what I mean? Like really like lifestyle decisions, things that will impact your life, like what you do for a living, where you live, things like that. Also, and so why is this pertain to your psychic gifts? Basically, as you become more in tune and your psychic gifts are still really advancing and opening, it's just going to make your decision making that much easier. That's another reason why. And also with the fairy spirits, and honestly, working with them, it can be a lot of fun because they also offer a lot of healing and joy-like energy, and not like for example, if you have to make a decision, they're going to help you do it in such a light way that making a decision shouldn't have to be a life or death where you have to beat yourself up about it so deeply. And I also, outside of the fairy spirit, just in a general sense, they're saying that your psychic gifts, and they kept saying your third eye is, they said it's very much open. That's just what they want to just tell you, that your third eye is very much open. And
I keep asking them to open it.
Oh, really? That's why.
But they're like, stop asking. It's open.
Okay, now it makes sense. Because I was like, it was so left field when I heard the message in my ear. It's like, tell her the third eye's open. Okay, well now you know. Now of course it's personal for you. So yeah, that's why they kept saying it for me to tell you. So yeah, literally it's open. It's not like you gotta jump through hoops of fire. To get it open. It's an openness and a willingness, and it's something that you already born into this lifetime with gifts, so it's naturally going to be easier than the average person for it to be open. So that's another reason why you were able to perceive and see the silhouette. Does that make sense? You could see the hair, like the little Flintstone stuff. You could see that, and they are whimsical like that, literally like how the fairy tales say it, because where do you think fairy tales get their fucking ideas from? You know what I mean?
She was gorgeous, and she did have a really light energy. It just felt like love, like
exactly. And I also feel like there is a like they said, with your third eye being open, and that's what they're talking about, seeing yourself and your situation in a clearer perspective, because that's all the third eye does. It helps us make better decisions. Obviously we're intuitive as fuck, and also it means you're going to see a lot more spirits, and like you said, it's cool to have boundaries. If you're not ready to see a full apparition, totally fine. That's what's most important, is communicating that to spirit so that they don't ever want to scare you, or nothing like that. But yeah, so just want to confirm that for you, basically. I know you know me, I'm long-winded, so
thank you. No, I appreciate it,
because
they're answering a bunch of questions that are also on my list here, because we got a list. So
all right, I've noticed recently that I have no problem manifesting into my experience. And so I want to ask my guides and angels and all the good people on the other side is, what can I do to attract money as successfully as I'm able to attract men? Or what kind of block is stopping me from attracting money? Or is there some past life version of me that's being a cunt and is fucking with my money? Or like, is there anything that they can help to help me get my money together?
Okay, great question. Actually, it's a combination. I'm going to go with the present life first, because I don't feel like it's a huge past life influence, but I will say, I'm going to just talk about this lifetime. What pops up is, I'm going to explain this imagery. So I see an image of your brain. Okay, so I want you to just imagine it's a brain. And then I see electricity going this way, like electric bolt going this way, and another one going here, another one going here. What they're saying is that you have so many different ideas that your focus, they said that you have the default business, right? That's what they said. You have the default, like what you've been doing for a very long time. But they're saying that there's another part of you that wants to do something different. Does that make sense? They said that there's a part of you that's like, well, what if I just do something, open up this business doing this? So your energy lately has been going to these ideas, but what's happening is it's only in the idea form. You got so many freaking ideas that none of them can manifest. And I feel like with your current, I want to just talk about, before I get to the other shit, the current business as is, right? I'm going to talk about that. Spirit's saying that is something that they said it's like a living person. It's going to have its ups and its downs. They said it's an entity. Technically, all businesses on energy, they are entities. It's an energy. So that business is going to have its highs and its lows. But I feel like even over time, even going next year, it's going to be more consistent next year, which is interesting. But also they said that you've been having fresh ideas with what you want to do with your current business. It's like there's a lot going on. So I think you're with me. I know we think we have the same fucking thinking patterns. Okay, so you get what I'm saying, where it's like you have this, so your actual business, and then you also have many lightning bolts going to that. Like maybe I can revamp it and maybe I want to try doing it here and having different venues and so there's like this, you're a lot of new ideas going to there. And then there's a lot of just random ideas that have nothing to do with this business that is more house related. As I keep seeing an image of a house. The word house. I keep seeing a house. I don't know why, but I keep seeing house.
Well, I do want to build one. I have one on my vision board. And then I also want to develop venues. And then, oh God, yeah, I could just go on right now. And I also want to.
Yeah, there's ideas. So here's what's interesting. And like the venue, that's why they brought the word venues too. Mm-hmm. Is that, and I'm going to focus on the actual, this business that you're actually in, because what they're telling me is that your ideas are actually really, really good. It's actually something that, because you know what's interesting, Spirit says she can make money off of rent. That's what they keep saying. Like, I feel like it's like you build something and maybe you use it for your venues, but then you rent it out and you're making constant money flow. That's something that they wanted to share with you. I don't know if you already thought about that. It is really important to, because I don't feel like necessarily it's actually a blockage that's going on. I think they're just saying it's that when everything's in idea form, until the first little step of action gets taken, you will start to see everything will feel a lot lighter. So I'm not saying take actions right now, because it's not like there's a lot of money that needs to be involved before we even get to that part. But I don't feel like there's a huge money block actually. So the good news that I have to tell you today is that I don't feel like there's anything completely blocking you. Spirit says the ideas are almost oversaturated, like meaning like you have almost too much with little and not enough action, so it feels more unrealistic. That's the disconnect of manifestation, when it's so much in the head and it's so much greatness in your head, all these ideas, and when it's not executed, it feels so much further away, you know? Mm-hmm. And so they're saying that this feeling of it being more unrealistic because it's so big what you want and it feels more unrealistic. That's another reason why it feels like, okay, maybe I'm just blocked then. No, not necessarily. You're definitely not blocked. But I also feel like, and you know what's interesting is anything past life related, I would say there's one life that technically sticks out. And you were extremely, and I mean extremely greedy in one of these lifetimes, where you were a man, and actually it's funny, you were a really big fat man, not like it matters, but you were a really big man in a general sense, and you were extremely greedy, where there was these you dealt with like old time, like this is old timey stuff, but it was like in the banking industry when I was first beginning. Mm-hmm. And you were a part of it, and it just felt like, and I'm not saying that like, oh, because you're greedy, you have to be poor in this life. It's not like that, but you were extremely greedy, and it just felt like Spirit shows me an image of you just like you're discarding friends, family, you know what I mean? You just not having it with anyone, like my money, and you were very distrustful of people because you know it's money. When you have a lot of money, you get distrustful, you don't want to share it. So you had no sharing skills, you made a lot of money, But that greed and the ability, and you felt like, and again, money brings us security, right? We feel secure within ourselves and all that stuff. This lifetime, you wanted to get the security first before you had the money. Does this make sense? It's a mental and emotional security within who you are before having the money. And now you're at this interesting point in your life where I would say, and this is what Spirit's saying for the last, like, I want to say last 4 to 5 years, I feel like you've been really like on this spiritual path, like the last couple of years, like especially the last 3 years. Literally since like 2019, 2020, you've been really, 2018 too, 2018, 19, 20, one of those years, it feels like was really the opening of this journey. And it just feels like it has been nonstop, like working on yourself, healing certain parts of yourself. And so this was all so you can get that sense of security in who you are, that sense of acceptance of this is who I am. This is what I know I got to work on. This is but I'm still going to love myself despite what I got to work on. Right. But I also, what they're saying in this lifetime, you're doing it differently. Then you got too much money and you got a false sense of security from the money, but you had nothing, but you weren't secure mentally and emotionally. This time you're doing it opposite. You're security first so that when you get the money, you're not going to be weird about it, versus last time you were really weird about it. And you isolated yourself. So I wouldn't say that's a complete block. I'm explaining why they said money in your lifetime, you see how it manifested a lot slower. It wasn't until your later years where it really started to amp up a bit, like, knowing what you wanted, things, so money making in your life was supposed to be late, like kind of like around your age now. So literally this is the actual opening and prime of money making years. And I also feel like, and this is, and Spirit saying what they want you to do, and this is their advice. You get excited and you just start like, okay, this is what I want. But they're like, this time we're going to do it differently. We're going to go straight up business bitch mode with it. Like, we're going to look up the property. We're going to look up every single detail. We're going to contact someone. You don't have to contact someone yet, but you're just at least going to look it up online. Then bullet point the selling points, where this can go based on this picture, where, and once you do like have some kind of formula, then that's when Spirit's saying that's when the ball will get rolling. They're saying the next step will be revealed as far as a down payment or something. Because basically what they're saying is not only, even if you don't do this land thing, the business will still be on the up and up in the middle of going into February, March-ish. It's going to really, it's kind of not saying dead, but it's really slow. So it's really going to see an uptick after the new year, going to February, March-ish. Don't allow the temporariness to deter the long term. And they said your biggest hurdle in this life is thinking long term. So that's what this is about. This is triggering your long-term like issues. You know what I'm saying? Seeing something that may take a long time to build. And that's where it can be disheartening, where it's like, okay, right now it's temporary, like, oh God, it's slow. I gotta hurry up and do something. Oh, maybe I have money blockage. No, it's just reality at the time frame. It has nothing to do with money blockages. So the good news, you didn't do anything to manifest the downtime. So the good news, you don't have to blame yourself. That's the great news. And even more greater news, the soul lesson right now with your business is thinking long-term. Spirit says you've been wanting to do this shit for a long time. That's another thing. So it's like, imagine if you implemented this like 2 to 3 years back when you really wanted it. And then you, by now, it had already been manifested, right? So now we're going to start over. And that's what they're saying because it takes a lot of patience. You know how impatient you are. So it's like, it takes patience and long term, all this like, I know you hate these words, patience and long term. That's what this is about. It's a long-term patient investment. And that's what this is about. The goal right here financially is long-term and patience. You are able to master that, you'll see success in all in your life, getting you to get to the other side of you that you can access. It does exist underneath all the fun and the temporary shit. There is someone deep down in you that's like, I still want something long term, so I can just like travel and live my life and get paid, like as you should, as you already kind of do. But now you can take it to the next level where it's constant money. Just throwing it out there. So basically you're heading in a really great direction, and the soul lessons about long-term longevity and patience, and really investing your energy into seeing something that takes a little while to come to fruition, but you are heading in the right direction. And that's why I just wanted to just share this real quick. So this is actually really exciting. So basically you're headed in a really positive direction. And the good news is that there is no I don't see any blockage. You have a very, because when you're open, there's not a lot of open people in this planet, but you are one of the few who are very genuinely open in all forms. That is what makes the most success in this life. So that's why you don't have major blockages, because some people really are, there's a lot of, when you're really unopen in many areas, closes you down even financially. But for you, at least don't blame yourself for the slowness at this time. It's nothing to do with you. So it's not karmic. Oh God, no, it's not you.
Okay, good. I can stop telling myself that story.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I think that's why they keep repeating it. You can let it go. Then it's done. It has nothing to do with you. They said sometimes it's literally outside of your control. And that's another lesson within itself. Just like, you know what? I don't have to blame myself for, I know we say we have the law of cause and effect. So we think, well, wait a minute, did I do something for it to be like this? Wait, am I not working on myself? Did I not no, some things are beyond just it because we're dealing with our own realities, but we're also co-creating our realities with the collective reality, right? So you're doing the best you can in your inner bubble, in your own inner reality, but you also have to remember that you're also dealing with the outer reality. And remember that at this time, there's so many people doing random shit that has nothing to do with your business and has nothing to do on a personal level towards you or your money-making skills. That's what this is about. And just accepting okay, it's nothing to do with me. It's just accepting the way the world at this certain time period right now. It has nothing to do with what am I doing enough or am I not? Am I just being rude? Am I so you can let that go.
Yeah, I'm I've had my head up my ass with boys, so they're not giving me money.
Right, exactly. You're not giving me money because I'm doing the wrong thing. No, living your life, having fun, that's not, no one's punishing you for living your life, basically. There's no punishment for living your life. And that's all it is. You're having fun, you're in the moment. Especially when you're such an in the moment person, you can never be punished for being completely in the moment with yourself or someone else. So
thanks for listening. You're the worst.